Hello, once again, gamers. It is Cuddlepunk here, and we are here with Chicago's very own Damager. Damager, how are we today?
Yo,
Stellar.
yo.
Hey, hey.
Alrighty, I'm gonna have each of you guys say your names, your pronouns, and your roles in the band.
Hey guys, it's Joseph from Cut Your Losses here, telling you to make sure to subscribe to Cuddlepunk. Did you know that about 56.4% of you are not subscribed yet? So be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that bell button to be notified whenever there's a new video. Thanks.
Right on. Hey everyone, my name's Adam. Pronouns are he, him, and I am the designated doctor and drummer of Damager.
Yo, this is Dan. I am my pronouns are he, him, his. I play guitar and sing the songs while we play them.
Hey, I'm Garrison. He, him, his. I'm the bassist, sometimes sing behind Dan.
I gotta now ask what doctor means in terms of the band.
It's a role that's been placed upon me. I didn't choose it. It chose me. I am the Dr. Scorpion. It's just who I am now.
Is it just like what does doctor entail, I guess?
That's
Or is it
we're
just a
still
moniker at this point?
at this point, we're still trying to figure that out. As the brand grows, the doctor, my tutorage grows, I guess. Is that the word? We're here.
The only thing that I can think, like tutelage, I get.
There we go.
It's weird. The main thing that I thought of when you said like doctor of the band was, have you guys seen the video for Reservoir by Pup?
No, but their new
I
record
haven't, not
is
yet.
flipping amazing. But anyway, I haven't seen the video.
I haven't heard the new record yet. This is from like their first album, I want to say. It's them and everybody they're just destroying themselves on stage basically, and the entire crowd has like, they've got like a defibrillator and they've got duct tape and they've got like tools to fix strings and med kits, and they're just like fixing their instruments and the band members themselves as they're playing. It's amazing.
That
Oh my
sounds
God.
crazy.
I don't know if I want that responsibility in the band. I'm sorry, guys.
You have
it. Shit.
Let's say a bass string's gonna break and just hit me in the face and be bleeding. You have to fix me up.
He has to fix the
That's
bass and your face
Yeah.
at the exact same
Yep.
time.
Oh
The
man,
doctor.
still playing drums all at the same time too. That's what I'm here for.
Now what I'll ask is for each of you in the same order to walk me through your individual musical journeys leading up to Damager.
Yeah, for sure. So I started playing drums in the 5th grade. So it's been a while. In school, I was really involved in things like the marching band, the pep band, symphonic. I was your typical band nerd. I'm not going to lie. Then outside of school, I also drummed for my church, and I was a part of a group with my high school friends called Superpar. It's like a psychedelic jam rock group. That project's kind of put on pause because everyone else moved out of the state. So it makes it a little difficult to record and to rehearse and perform.
Yes.
Just a tad. One person's in Colorado, the other's in Nevada, just like the carpooling situation just isn't ideal. But yeah, we have stuff on Spotify, so feel free to check that out or not.
I haven't even heard this.
It's probably for the best. It's a strong emphasis on jam rock. But yeah, I mean, currently drumming for Damager, also the drummer for an indie pop / alternative band called Cheap Monarchy. And then outside of that, I'm also trying to teach myself guitar, bass, piano, and trying to write my own music, which I hope to release sometime this year. So that's where I'm at right now.
Do it soon. Can't wait.
I'm trying to, my man.
For me, I saw a film, a Hollywood film called School of Rock when I was 9 years old, and couldn't help myself. I think my parents noticed my enthusiasm and bought me a first act acoustic when I was 9 years old, and started playing. I think we were talking about this the other day, that the first songs I learned were Smoke on the Water and Seven Nation Army, but just like one string, just like the bass line. And then got my first electric for my 10th birthday. Started taking lessons. UltimateGuitar.com was probably my biggest teacher for many years. started kind of recording my own music by the time I was 14, 15. Just like various solo stuff under different names, putting it out on the internet, but not telling anyone about it. Was my route. I started recording some more serious solo stuff around like 2019, and then I met Garrison in early 2020, and that's where we planted the seeds of Damager. Moved to Chicago fall 2020. Nothing weird was going on in the world at that time, but Garrison and I got to chatting and started writing the songs that would eventually become Best Team in Baseball, and some of the songs you know from Damager.
Yeah, which is like a crazy story, just that we happened to go to the same college and never met, and then met in Chicago years later. So you never know, I guess. It's crazy. Small world, small musical world, at least.
Yeah, I forgot that we went to the same college and never met. I totally dropped that detail.
Yeah, it's a good
Please
one.
Expand on that. It's a great detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so I play in an indie pop Midwestern boy band that like it's kind of an interesting project. It like verges on indie pop. It also has like some like emo tendencies, called Jean-Claude and the Eclairs. And we met and we started playing at KU, and apparently Dan went to one of our shows, which I actually happened not to be at. I think the band played acoustic without a bassist. So I played bass in the band for Damager, but I grew up playing guitar, bass, and doing some vocal stuff just like throughout all of middle school and high school. I think I played in different bands. One in particularly called The Moment. I feel like Adam dropped his like high school band name, so I have to drop mine too.
Got to.
But yeah, I mean, that's like that's really, I honed my love of like rock and roll. And then I went to college, got into like the indie pop scene, obviously, as you do when you go to college, maybe. Just like interesting, like girls are more interested in you if you're playing like accessible stuff, to be honest. I don't know. So yeah, we just played a bunch of shows at bars, and that's really where I started playing bass. And like I switched to bass, just like our guitarist was maybe a step above me in his skill level. So it was like, oh, I'll just move. I think that's why a lot of people start playing bass. But then, yeah, I kept playing. We got some really great traction with that band, had some really cool opens for some big artists. Moved to Chicago, knew I wanted to play more music, started like an emo folk project, did 3 songs with that. It was very like folksy. It was almost like emo John Mayer, except I can't sing or play guitar nearly as good as him. And then, yeah, that turned into playing with a bunch of other projects, playing in Cheap Monarchy for a minute with Adam, which is how I met him. Then obviously like Dan and I had worked together on a few things that started like the beginnings of Damager, then kind of like fell apart a little bit and then pulled it all back together. And that's where we brought Adam in as the drummer, and things just clicked right away. I think like we were able to hit the music the way Dan had recorded it, but bring something new, kind of like our own creative ideas. So I think what we have going right now is just super cool. And like the last 2 shows that we played have been awesome. Super pumped for everybody coming out to those. And I think we're really like honing in on something that we all really like. And Dan's writing is amazing, like super fun to play with him, super fun to play the stuff that he writes. I think he writes 100 songs a year. Like it's insane. I could never do that.
It's an incredible sound that you guys have. And I think one that kind of sets you apart in the scene that you guys are coming from. What was the inspiration to bring that much like fuzz into the sound of Damager?
It's funny because I don't know if it was like so intentional for it to be so fuzzy. I mean, I guess it started maybe with I really like the early Strokes records a lot, and I always liked how Julian Casablancas had like this kind of like drive on his vocals. And I mean, I guess it's sort of a step of not being very confident in the way that you track your vocals or how you like, how I perceive my singing. So I was like, this will add something kind of, I don't know, some filter, some like facade between my actual raw organic voice and the record. And then sort of on top of it, like these fuzzy guitars and just the way it was recorded digitally, like at home in an apartment. It allowed it to like grow and feel a little bit more like a band when it was, just me tracking stuff by myself. So I don't know, it all came together, but then there's also like some influences, some bands that I like we always name drop like White Reaper and I don't know, Diarrhea Planet and
Androids,
Japandroids, Titus Andronicus, like these bands that, really rely on like some like pretty thick, dense walls of guitars and stuff. And I'm really attracted to like guitarism riffs, guitar lines and stuff.
It's interesting that you brought up the Strokes because I was listening to their album from 2020. I can't remember the new Abnormal, and you two do have something similar in that I feel like the way that your voices are mixed on the records, it's using the voice as kind of just another instrument in the mix rather than having the vocals be like the focal point of the song.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's cool. You heard it here first. Me and Julian Casablancas, like this, were like,
Absolutely
on
the same
par.
people. They're the same people, actually.
He's got a wild Instagram. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but he posts some weird stuff.
I have not. What level are we talking? Are we talking like John Cena weird level Instagram, or like more just like basic meme page?
It's like a basic meme page, but like he like writes just weird stuff, or he'll post like a picture from like the news story, the news cycle of the week of like it's Will Smith, but then I'll have like this really cryptic weird captions with it. I don't know. Check it out.
That sounds exactly like something that Julian Casablancas would do. We were talking about Best Team in Baseball, the album that you guys put out last year, which is fantastic. It's called Best Team in Baseball. You have a song called Designated Hitter. What is it about baseball that felt so important to you that you decided to make it such a theme on the record?
I suppose it started with the title, like most great things. Started with the title, and I just feel like maybe that's a phrase, and Garrison can talk about this too, but like Garrison and I are both from St. Louis, and baseball culture in St. Louis is just so prevalent. And I grew up in a baseball loving family. My father, who's going on 62, is still playing baseball to this day. And slugging. I mean, he's still going. He's had 100 knee surgeries, but he's still playing baseball. And, it's just like a huge aspect of my life in some ways. And this phrase, best team in baseball, was like sort of, I don't know, an interesting superlative that is sort of subconsciously planted in my head of like a mark of excellence. And I think in kind of a funny way, I was like, first album, we're the fucking best. Like
it's definitely a statement. I
think it is interesting too that we all live right by like Wrigley Field as well. It's like just kind of like we have baseball around us, even if we like left St. Louis, we're still like surrounded by it. Maybe that's like it, on some less deep level is something that's definitely prevalent.
I like baseball, so
there you go.
That's my input.
Well, there we all are. We all enjoy baseball. But we were talking about Sonic influences a little while ago. When it comes to who writes most of the lyrics,
I will take credit for that.
So I guess who are your more, when you talk about Sonic influences, who are your more lyrical influences?
I would say, well, Titus Andronicus, as we named as a Sonic influence, but also very much lyrically. I think that Patrick Stickles is like the fucking best writer. The way that he uses words, and in the like words that don't appear in punk music, literary allusions, just more extensive vocabulary. I just find it fascinating. I like using words that aren't found often in other places. Maybe my lyrics aren't so extensive as his, but definitely Patrick Stickles, and also Matt Berninger from The National. I adore The National, and again, another guy who just paints like an amazing picture with words, especially when he's writing about misery, which I think appears in my lyrics.
Our sweet spot.
Yeah,
Every once in a while, small theme.
The like contrast between really simple sentiments that comes with punk music, and then very verbose, like dictionary, looking stuff up to find out what it means. Also Bruce Springsteen, amazing storyteller, also amazing like craftsman with his words and his poetry.
Storytelling is a big thing for you lyrically.
Maybe more in my solo stuff. I don't think it's as prevalent on Damager's materials thus far, but
the name Damager, was this a purposeful thing, or was this more of a like just something that just a word?
Yeah, I don't know. This was a little bit of both. I mean, even if it's like a phrase that inspires the product, it's, I guess, something subconscious that would have brought it to your attention and my interest. I think maybe it was an interest in, like, a lot of my taste is in like the more heavier, harder music in general. I mean, punk music, hardcore. I like my death metal, my black metal here and there when I need it. But like I've always liked, heavier, harder imagery, and associating that with not necessarily like light music, but lighter, and that kind of contrast like really interests me. I had referenced maybe before somewhere that maybe Phoebe Bridgers coming out with an album called Punisher, and then you listen to it, and all the songs are like, they're mellow and they're spooky and they're moody, and that really I think is an appealing quality to me.
No, that's awesome. You guys have what the original game we were gonna do is I was gonna have you guys see if you could guess the artist from the Chicago Faves playlist that you guys have. You made the Chicago Faves playlist. How important to you guys is building up the rest of the scene around you?
It's number one in some ways. I mean, I've said before, like, I'm just a fan. I love our scene and the bands that we get to play with and get to hang out with all the time. And I think like there's just a ton of talent, and the other guys can talk about this too. But I don't know. I'm a fan. Shout out to locals. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like I was talking with someone, I won't drop names, but I was talking with someone, and like, man, I can't believe like my favorite bands are my friends, like, and just like that is just a great feeling. Like, and everybody's just so supportive. It's a community. Like when I moved to Chicago, I think the big part of that was looking for a community or people that I could relate to a lot more on a sense of, creating things and understanding, like perceiving the world through art and music and films and stuff, instead of, I'm from Missouri. People want to like go mudding and drink Busch Light. I don't know. It's like...
For sure. Yeah, just kind of going off of that. I mean, so I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago. And, as I mentioned earlier, I was in a few bands with some high school friends, and we gigged at other different towns, but there was never really that sense of like community, right? Like you would go up to a show, you'd play, and then you'd hang out with your friends. That was just kind of the vibe that I would get, in high school touring with my band and whatnot. But, ever since moving into the city in 2020 and, more specifically, hanging out with these guys right here, playing music, playing shows with them, not only has it been great to like connect with other artists, but connect with artists that aren't even in our own band. And there is absolutely that sense of community, that sense of support that that comes from playing these shows. It is really spectacular, and honestly, it's been my favorite part about being in Damager and being, in the city itself.
Yeah, I think there's something too to be said about being pushed by other bands to be better and to grow musically. The fact there's just like so many shows and you're going and seeing these other groups playing, and like you see them absolutely slay like night after night. It kind of pushes you to go home, practice more, and figure out like, okay, what are they doing, or who are they working with to get those really cool T-shirts, or like who are they working with to figure out how they're producing, like they're doing those music videos that are so cool. And then it pushes the artist in general. And then I think too, like the one thing that I think that Dan has really found and honed in on, it's just like, this is honestly how you get gigs and how you get the cool next thing, and how you take a big step forward is by, networking and investing in the scene here, which is one awesome. I haven't lived in a city like Chicago as far as the music scene. It's incredible how many bands there are. Like it's so easy to walk down the street and like see somebody or to find a show.
It really is. Like I've been amazed with the amount of just willingness for people just to even come on this show. Like everybody that I was looking through your guys' Instagram, and I see all these names that I'm familiar with, like Pink Squeeze, Cut Your Losses, Soak, Calico Loco. It feels like there is a really tight knit scene that's being built, and in Chicago, this group of bands feels very close, and it feels like a lot of really, really great stuff is going to be coming out of this scene very, very soon. And it already is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like I try to go to as many local shows as possible, and I I've struggled in the past with like trying to go to shows that, you know, bands that you like when you like, but you go alone, or you like, you know, you don't have someone to go with, and then you get that feeling when you're there and you're just like, I guess I'll just kind of drink beers to pass the time or whatever. But like now I like am blessed to be able to like go to shows and I'm like, oh, there's Michael, there's Ava, there's, you know, whoever. And I like, it's an instant like, you know, comfort. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like it's, I don't know, that's just been like a huge benefit too. It's like friends, making friends.
Everybody's so nice. Everyone's so nice. Thank you so much for being here, Damager. Where can we find you guys?
Damager CHI on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal,
Bandcamp?
probably Bandcamp. Yeah, actually, none of those other ones. Bandcamp. You gotta
Yeah, go on Bandcamp.
you gotta buy it, and like Google Bandcamp Friday when ? And then Google Damager CHI.
First Friday of the month, everybody. First Friday of the month is Bandcamp Friday. Go out and support your favorite local music on Bandcamp Friday, especially if it's Damager. Best Team in Baseball is one of the most slept on records of last year. If you guys haven't heard it, you absolutely need to. Damager, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been a pleasure.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ronnie.
so much,
Drink
Ron.
responsibly.
Nice.
Thank you so much.